Good day. Welcome back to another video, guys. Thanks a lot for checking it out. Let's see if we can entertain you a little bit today. We're going to be doing a small block Chevy. We're going back to old school here, guys. This is a 010 block, 4-bolt main. Typical stuff that we used to always look for back in the day, right? Well, some people did anyways. I'm not that old. Just kidding. But this is going to be a little bit interesting here. It is clearanced already for a 3-3 stroker. You can see our notches in here. What else? There's a few things here going on. I did tap the front already, so we can put some plugs in the front or some screw-in type plugs in the front instead of your tap-in stuff. This is going to be a little bit butch in some ways. I want to show you something. See if I can put this thing over. Take a look. Just gonna go ahead and scan here and see if you can see what's a little bit off here. Maybe there's a few things. Oh, what might that be? I think somebody got a little carried away with their blade. I know my fingers aren't exactly flat, but you guys can see that. Ouch. So we know that's not going to seal. We're going to definitely have to put some silicone in here, try to get that area to seal up. Not ideal. This engine has some history. You know what? I don't know. All engines have history. The previous owner ran alcohol through this engine, and I guess alcohol in the oil doesn't have the oil viscosity things anymore, so it's not oil with the alcohol. So there was alcohol that blended in with the oil. I think that's pretty typical on alcohol engines, but it ran like that for a bit, I guess, and wiped out the crank. So the crank had to get cut down, and bearings and cylinder walls, like everything kind of, let's see, you can see some pitting in the cylinder walls. But you know what? That's okay. I have now honed this thing. I honed it with a 240 grit ball hone and a 320 grit ball hone. And we're going to be using plasma moly rings. So we're going to try that out. No, it didn't get all the pitting out. It's pitting. You need to cut that. But brother-in-law is going to put this engine in a 67 Camaro. And we're going to try to do it a little bit on the cheaper side in a way, but still try to make it make sense. So we're going to see how it works out. We're not going to deck it. You can see that the decks are not freshly cut. So we're going to get a little creative with our sealing style here with the gasket. Later on when we get to that point, I'll show you what I mean. But for now, I'm going to continue on. This thing's been honed, washed, so I can actually start assembling here. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I'm going to start bearing clearance. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'm going to start checking bearing clearance. So I'm going to start with the mains. I got the main caps sitting here all clean, ready to go. So I'm going to put some ARP on the bolt underneath the heads, basically between the washer and the head and on the threads. And then I'm gonna flip this thing over. We're gonna slip some bearings into here, and then we're gonna torque them all down, and we're gonna go ahead and check the clearance out and see what we got. These are the mains that we're gonna be using. So we will see how they end up working out. The crank was not ground very nicely, so we actually did not use it, or we're not gonna use it. He got a different crank. He got a brand new crankshaft that came in for a 3-3 setup. He bought brand new connecting rods because the other rods were all mixed match. There was all kinds of different rods mixed in there. It was weird. It was a mixed match combo. So yeah, new rods, new crank, and the pistons we're gonna reuse. There's a little bit of pitting on them too, but I think it'll be okay. And it's already been balanced. We brought it in. The machine shop, he balanced it up nicely for us, and so that part's all good to go. They're cleaned. There's some SRP pistons. They got a nice dome on them. It's a forged piston there. We're also going to be running some AFR heads that came with this combo. They are AFR 210 cylinder heads. They are set up for solid roller camshaft, but I will take them apart and verify spring pressures. There's our cam. We're going to reuse the cam that was in there. As you can see, pretty aggressive low profile. So it is a solid roller camshaft, except for we have no idea what the specs are. We're going to reuse the lifters, solid roller deal there, Harlan Sharp rockers. Yeah, so I'm very curious how this is going to go. We'll get to it. I don't know how I'm going to break this video down. I'm going to show you everything I'm doing. I don't know. Maybe I'll time lapse at the end. You guys are all probably getting sick of that. But we'll see. I'll surprise you. Okay, so I measured the main bearing clearance out, and not good news. Got everything torqued in. Got the crank sitting here. Yes, it's on its side, but it's only for measuring. It'll get flipped up and stored straight. So here we go. We are at 3.5, 4, 3.5, 4 thousandths of an inch. My target is 3 thou for this build on the mains. So I am too loose, guys, too loose. So now I have to see what I can come up with. I'll check my inventory, see if I got any more bearings kicking around. If not, we're gonna have to go ahead and get a set ordered in. We're gonna get a set of standards and then see what that looks like. In theory, a standard should be measuring out where these are showing 4, the standard should be measuring out at 3. So I'm not too sure if these guys are a little on the loose side, like these bores in the block, but that's the way she goes. Maybe the crank is a little bit on the looser side. I'll actually look at the numbers and see if they fall in line, fall in spec. But yeah, I'll update you when I got a new update for you. And just like that, I got an update for you. Measured out the crank. Crank is within tolerance. The bores on the block, they're within tolerance. So we're good there. Just the bearings, guys. Got another set of bearings, standard king bearings. Got those in, and now our clearance is good. So we are sitting at 27, 28, 29, 29, and I went a little bit looser on the rear. I want a little bit more on that rear main. I got it covered up, but you know the deal. A little bit looser on that back girl. But we're good now on the main bearing clearance. So I went ahead and set up to do the connecting rod bearing clearance, which I've actually already done. So this is our target here, 63 foot-pounds with some ARP. This is a little bit new for me, this sheet. Usually I'm targeting the stretch factor on here, but in this particular case, it's telling me not to exceed 5 thou, and that they use torque. So let's see here. Scat uses torque, not stretch to tighten. So I torqued it down to 63 foot-pounds, and I actually had between 4 and 4.5 thou stretch. And here it's saying that it's not to exceed 5. So in this particular build, we will be going with 63 foot-pounds, and it seems to check out nicely. So yeah, just using the stretch gauge. Measure the bolt before you torque it, measure it after, see what it stretches out to. Got my tools, measured everything out, we're good there. I got the rods all stacked up on this side right now. So we're anywhere from 23 to 25 thou on all the rods. So we're looking happy there. I'm good with that. And yeah, so rods are now finally good after, actually the rods, believe it or not, 1 set of bearings to get that. Not bad, right? The mains was 2 sets of bearings to get it. It's just the way it should be sometimes. So bearings are good. Next up, I will make some room here, clean up again. I'm gonna file down some piston rings. We'll get those gapped to where we want them, and then we'll move on from there.